is a Meet Your Member reading for the calling. Okay, so I didn't have anything else come through during the code name, so normally I start by relating some of those things. It just came in literally in a split second. So I do have some crystals here, and these are all pretty much higher chakras. I have my selenite wand here and my lepidolite. So this is like crown chakra. Lepidolite can also be third eye. And then I only have three crystals here. Then I have my rose quartz. But even three, I mean, even three can kind of have to do with destiny or calling or purpose and that. Oh, okay, that's what this name is about. All right. So this actually has to do with your questions. You're asking about your guides and who they are. That's the question that you're asking. And so okay, so I have a guide here. So basically what's coming in right away, this name, the calling, it's almost like your spirit calling out or like your guides calling out. Or more like the spiritual realm in general, almost the calling. So it's not so much like a destiny or a purpose, which I was just assuming off the bat. No, it's like a pull. It's like being pulled to like the spiritual planes, more type of idea going on here. Okay, I already have to have some water right at the beginning of the reading. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and surround us again in the selenite. That's what I feel to do. And see what else they want to bring through here. Okay, well, this is definitely not a crown chakra issue or I do feel like a third eye issue a little bit, not a crown chakra issue at all. So this is like it has nothing to do with ability or anything like that, or your ability to communicate with them. You even said it's like well, you're right about that because you're even saying you have some trust or faith issues. But you're not lacking like an ability to communicate with your guides. And of course, your guides are saying everybody has the ability to communicate with their guides in some format because you need that way of communicating just to sort of survive here and function. Everybody needs that, whether they realize that they're like openly communicating with their guides or not. Their guides are still communicating with them in some way and guiding them in some way. And they need to be able to get that through. So your guides are saying everybody has that ability. They're saying that you are more aware of it. You are more like plugged in. They're saying, so to speak. So it is easier to get through to you. They're saying than to a normal person. But yeah, they're saying the confusion is lying in here. It's a third eye thing. But again, this isn't about an ability. Is the crown chakra. I'm not sensing any blocks. So this is more like a mental thing. Like just lacking in your ability to know that you can, which is basically what you're saying as well. They're also sending this this feeling like there is actually some passed down ability that you have. I keep sensing like a grandmother. This feels like a grandmother who's passed too. It doesn't feel like a living grandmother. It feels like a grandmother that has passed, There's also even a feeling of a great grandmother as well. And then I keep feeling the father. Feels like the father's side. And it feels like she's spiritual in a sense, but that it almost comes out in a little bit of a religious way, kind of. Because I'm seeing like a Bible or something. So this could mean like she's actually Christian or Catholic, or it could just be them indicating that she is kind of like religious, um, in like the way that she's able to communicate or like use her abilities. It also doesn't feel like it's some full on communication or something. It's just like she's a little bit more in tune to her spiritual side than others, whether she really realizes that or not, but there is a gift there. And so they're even indicating that some of this even falls in the category of just of like DNA almost. Like, so even almost like a physical gift, even though that sounds a little bit weird. Um, but they're saying that that can actually pass down in a physical way, like in a DNA related way. Or they're saying, um, so they're saying like a person who's never really had it before can be born into a family and they can end up having it, just because they're sort of born into this family where other people have had it. And so they almost end up with it still in a spiritual way, obviously, because everything is, but in like a kind of physical way. They're saying, but then on the other hand, it can also be like an old soul and nobody in their family has this to the slightest degree, or even if they do, they don't have it because it's like passed down to them or something. Although that could increase it, but it's because they've developed it in past lives. So they're kind of indicating that with you, it's a little bit of both. So they are saying that there is like a knack there for like the ability to just kind of communicate in a natural way, and just more of a flowing, just natural sort of thing. So they're saying when you're allowing this up, you're kind of allowing out your natural side. Um, but again, there's a feeling like with family almost. Like even other people in your family, it feels like you're kind of more open than others who might have had like a gift like this, like even like the grandmother. Like they're saying if you're doing it in a religious way, you're still kind of doing it in a contained way, and it's not really exactly about psychic ability. It's more about your connection to the divine, which it is anyway. I mean that's what would give a person gifts anyway, would be their connection to their abilities and their ability to access their guides and intuition and all of that. But they're talking more about the way that they're looking at it. It's simply like they're connecting to a religion or a god, or connecting to like religious material or practices or something, not really, or like believing in some kind of religious book, um, or practices, not so much just diving into their own abilities. So they're saying it's a little bit more rigid, it's more blocked or contained, or they're even saying contaminated. It's not freeing, or freely expressing what you have. It's making it about something else. It's making it about some, God outside of yourself that you're relying on. Um, and maybe it can give you messages or something, but there's a feeling almost like it's not even really taken in that way. So in other words, they're saying if you don't acknowledge your gifts, they're not going to come through in the way that they would, or in the way that they can. Um, so the potential is there, and they're not talking about you. They're saying in this type of mindset that, again, there's a feeling like um, some people have had in your family before. So it's like you can have something, but if you're not acknowledging that it's there, then its ability to manifest outwardly, as in experiences, is limited. And even experiences that you do have, the way that you define them, um, which would also even give you access to further ones if you were to define them in a certain way, even that also would put a block or a stopper on the person's abilities, their ability to define it for what it is. So they're saying that this is two different things. They're saying that you can actually harness this more even by tapping into your DNA, actually using your DNA. And they're saying this is like, they mean like physical DNA, earth DNA. Honey, she's saying honey. This feels like a female. Um, this is like, um, yeah, it's not like starseed DNA. This is like more of like a physical kind of DNA. There's this feeling from the sky, like like there's this one feeling that's almost kind of like angelic or something, kind of, but it still feels really earthy, almost like they're not exactly angelic, or like they are. There's a feeling like they're angelic and also like they're really connected to the earth, but then at the same time, sometimes there's almost like there's a little bit of like an attitude going on in there, like almost like almost to relate to you in some way. It kind of feels um like a guide will almost shift into the person's personality just a little bit, or like something that would almost be more comfortable for them to communicate with or understand. And she's saying even like let your guard down or something. um and so this ability to almost shape shift a little bit with like the vibrations that are sent, to almost send a vibration that feels more familiar to you, like in the way of like almost like you would do that yourself, or you've had that done to you in like a familiar way with like another human or something. There's a feeling like that, like someone that you would recognize in like a human way, or someone that you would connect with in like a physical way that you're used to interacting with and you're more comfortable interacting with. She's saying especially because of like trust issues, like you're saying. So she's almost coming in a more comfortable way, but then at the same time there's this um energy there, like a very angelic kind of energy. And even the selenite, a lot of times when I have a selenite, the guide ends up being like an angel, either an angel or like an extraterrestrial that's more on like an angelic frequency, which I guess you could still say is an angel. But it's like an angel saying, I'm coming from this specific planet, basically. Yeah, she's saying so an angel is really then about your frequency. Not so much where you're from, it's more about your frequency. So she's saying, even though it is a being, even though it is a being type, it is, but she's just saying, so it's really about your frequency. And so she she can like alter her frequency, and so she can change it. And now if I'm sensing her, she's almost going to feel a little bit more human because it has to do with the vibration that's sent. So she's saying that sometimes you feel a little bit more comfortable interacting with like a human type of vibration just because you're used to it. That's weird. She's all of a sudden using my husband as an example. So like Wolf is like extremely um into animals, but specifically dogs as well, like all animals, but especially dogs. So she's saying, like if it were him, maybe they would send even like a dog type of energy, or the way that he would sense a dog's energy communicating to him, because he's definitely very kind of telepathic with animals and especially dogs in that way. So she's saying that it has to do with what are you the most open to. So she's saying it has to do with letting your guard down and being more open to the purest vibration, she's saying. And that doesn't mean, that means her vibration, um, whether it's coming across as one thing or as another, like as something familiar, or however she's sending out the vibration. It's about letting your guard down where you can connect to that vibration. It's about vibrations coming toward you. Now she's saying that you don't want to let it so down that your energy um is no longer guarded towards like negative things, or like towards people's vibrations when they're just communicating with you or interacting with you. Or she's saying, especially when you're a crowd, especially when you're in a crowd, um, or she's saying you're dealing with people about lower things, like they're talking about something more negative or something. She's saying then you would want to keep that up more. Ah, okay. So she's saying that this is about, okay, water. So she's saying that this is about um so it's about letting um this is like, this isn't her just saying let go or something, let your guard down. No, she's almost talking about a technique here, is how it's feeling. Um, Whereas before I thought she was more just saying, let your guard down in this kind of general way. Don't be closed off or something. But no, she's more almost talking about like an exercise or like a technique or something, because she's saying sometimes you need to have your aura, closed. So not so much where you're like closing onto your guides, but she's saying um where you're closed off to not like completely, she's saying, but enough, just like psychic protection. You're closed off to a degree. She's saying like your chakras are closed off. She's saying like you wouldn't want those to be open all the way. She's saying like even when you're communicating with your guides, you wouldn't want them to be open like completely necessarily. And she's saying that you wouldn't want them to be closed completely. So she's saying kind of keeping them in the middle is good. She's saying for like all areas, it's good to kind of keep your chakras in the middle. So this is like a technique that you can use. She's saying to just practice going through your chakras and opening them, closing them. She's saying some are going to be more open, and so you're going to almost want to teach them to, and you'll just see this as you're going through, like, it'll just be like you're visualizing something, but then what happens is something just, it's like I'm just visualizing a chakra, but I happen to be seeing the chakra really, really open, or I happen to be seeing it really, really closed, and you're not trying to, you're just, you're just going to visualize the chakra. So you might see some of them just naturally more open. You might see some of them naturally more closed. Or she's saying if you don't see it, it might come in some other way. You might just get a sense of it. She's saying, but she doesn't want you to go by logically, like, well, my solar plexus is probably a little more closed because the solar plexus deals with issues like this, and I have issues like this, so it might be a little more closed, so I'll open it up. She's saying to try and in some way get a feeling of, or see or hear or whatever, get a sense intuitively of, is this more open, is this more closed. And so she's saying that's one thing to do with the chakras. She's coming in with a name all of a sudden. I don't know, she's almost interrupting herself. I guess she isn't because she finished that sentence. But she's coming in with a name all of a sudden. She's saying Sally. I've never gotten that in a reading before. I know this has to do with like this almost like human thing that she's like expressing, because that's just like such a like typical like woman's name. It's not like it's not like a guide's name that I would normally hear. But no, she's just coming in with this feeling like it's a comforting, it's a comforting um feeling with it. It just feels normal, feels like someone that, it feels like you can just relax with a person who's named Sally. She's saying feels like you can relax with a more human vibration. And she's saying like a woman's vibration. So she's saying like a female human's vibration that's almost coming across like a grandmother or a mother, or just like a sister or a friend or something, like a sister or like a best friend. And so she's almost trying to come across with this energy, and she's saying that that's what you need to grab, that this is almost like a safe zone, like a safe area. So she's also saying that you should feel relaxed and you should feel peaceful and at ease when you're communicating with your guides, and that that'll help you open up and transmute some of these emotional and mental, definitely mental blocks as well. All right, so that is the end of this reading. And thank you very much for allowing me to do this reading for you. And I truly hope that it benefits you. Namaste.